Hello and welcome. I am your host of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Author Karen E. Osborne. I have 5 novels out. The latest is Justice for Emerson. I am so glad that you're here. This is a space for readers and writers to come together and talk about books. Welcome back, everybody. Today, you get to meet Leah Miles. Hey, Leah.
Hi,
I'm so
I
glad to
appreciate you
have
having
her.
me here today.
Oh, you're most welcome. I'm delighted to have you. I loved your book. I so enjoyed it. And we are going to tell our audience all about it. So it's called Baby Concealed. And could you show us that gorgeous, gorgeous cover?
Yes, my friend Leah Davis with Glowing Moon Designs designed it. It's Baby ConSEAL because it's a Navy SEAL and it's book one in a 7 book series, Seal and Shelter.
Isn't that great?
Very exciting.
Congratulations. And Leah she's been a published author for 6 years, but this is her first standalone full novel. And as she said, the first in a series. So let's start there. Tell us about the setting, the premise. Just give us a taste of what the book is about.
Well, you write what you know. I've never been a Navy SEAL. So
Oh,
I
okay.
already threw that out the window. And I've never murdered anybody, thankfully. And it is about murder and mayhem. And I've got a bad guy that stalked me in my dreams and he had to be in there. And it's contemporary. And I have a young woman with a child. And it is a secret baby. I know some people don't like that. There are reasons that she didn't tell him about the child that are valid, in my opinion, and the baby's too when he finds out about the baby. But it's because she was poor and lived in another state. And so, but when the rubber hit the road, so to speak, when she witnessed a murder and the killer knows who she is because her phone rang and that's I don't want to give too much away, but so she goes to find the Navy SEAL that fathered her child, but all she knows is his nickname, and the killer is close behind her, and it's a very fast paced book. You don't ever really sit down and relax. It goes from one scene to the next, and there's a big twist at the end that I was really proud of because originally I was going to call it Father Identified for obvious reasons that you know since you read it. But I love the double entendre. And it's the first in my SEAL and Shelter series because I have a sheltering arms protection agency and a Navy SEAL team. And the characters will cross over. They'll all be standalone books. The next one's written and has already won some awards. And I have the next one launches a trilogy about 3 sisters, and it's and then the last two, the fifth one is another Navy SEAL named Butter, and that's another good story. And the last two are about the sheltering arms employees. And I love to read military romance. I love to read romance of any genre. I read just about anything. I read military books too, because you got to write what you know. I watched some of your other interviews with people who had actually been in the military. Cam Torrens, an author I like to follow, and he's a lot more authentic in his descriptions in the military. I say, pick up the gun. I don't say what kind of gun it is because I don't know. Um, but I've gotten a lot of good early reviews, so I hope people enjoy it. I hope people buy the book when it comes out March 26th.
Yes, yes, which is in 2 days. Two
Yes,
days.
yes,
And
very
then
exciting.
they can all purchase it. So tell us a little bit about Risa first. Tell us what kind of person she is, what you like about her, what are some of her qualities?
Well, Rissa Parker is she comes from a terrible home life, and that's I took a class once, and the teacher said, take your main character and think of the worst thing that can happen to him, and then make it even worse. And that's how you have flawed characters, and she's very flawed in the beginning. She's just making ends meet. She's letting life happen to her, and then this event happens, and she decides to, actually start living and moving forward. And she does. Her daughter is her priority. She protects her child. And she evolves to I don't need that family that rejected me. I found my family. And that is a theme in just about everything I write. I have a lot of anthology stories, but I'm real big on the found family theme. I like my characters to find themselves and find who they want to be. They don't necessarily have to stay where they were born. They don't have to stay in the mold that they were plugged in. They can become their own people.
Yeah, those are I love found families. I love creating family, your own what who you make your family
Right.
is your family and flawed, strong women. And she's a terrific character. And the book is very propulsive. I mean, it's like it's a page turner. So we also meet Byrne
Mhm.
and which is his nickname. And just tell us what kind of person he is.
Well, I'm a big fan of the TV show SEAL Team. You've probably seen it, maybe. If you haven't, you should go watch all of it right now. But it's so good. And it's Byrne is a master chief. That means he's the head of his team. And Byrne is Bernard Cruz, but they all have nicknames, and Byrne is his nickname. And he likes to do things fast, and he likes to do things with the people he cares about. And his team is who he's chosen to be his family. Um, and hang on. I'm in an interview. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So
Sometimes
he
cats
is,
join us, sometimes dogs join us.
yeah.
You were saying,
Yeah, so Byrne is he's Navy SEAL. He's the top of his game, and he has no intention of marrying and having his own family. His brother has a wife and kids, and he meets Rissa, and he meets her in a bar, and she's just turned 21, and it's one of those nights, and then she disappears. And he's thought about her since then, but he's lived his life, and his team is most important. And the chapter 3, they're out in the field, and some of his teammates or some of his team get injured, and that's a big part of the story is how he interacts with his team. And Byrne comes to the realization that, maybe I can have a family and have a team, especially when he figures out that the little girl is his daughter because Shelby's the child's name because Rissa doesn't tell him, he figures it out.
he figures it out. That's good. Yes, yes, he
Yeah.
does. Yeah. So you said to us that you're not a Navy SEAL yourself. And
Right.
so when you were researching, so you could figure out how to make sure that your book came across as authentic as possible, did you uncover anything that was particularly surprising or interesting, or said, "Oh, I have to put this in my book," or "I'm not going to put that in my book"?
Uh, I don't know. I did a lot about the relationship between them and his relationship with the team. I did try to get the jargon right, and I had to call some. I have relatives who've been in the military to find out what kind of helicopter they need to be on when they're evacuated because there's a lot of helicopters out there, and you don't want to say something that just somebody's gonna throw the book at the wall and say that's dumb. That's not going to happen. You want to be authentic and accurate as much as you can. That was the main thing for me because I like a story when I'm reading. If it's not believable, if the characters are stick figures, I don't want to read it. I got to know where they're at. I got to know what they're looking at, what the scenery looks like, but I don't want to dwell on that. I'm more of an action, less of an emotion writer, which is maybe not great. I should maybe put more. I feel this way about it, but I like a fast-paced story.
Yeah. And
That's what
this
I
is
like
a
to read.
fast-paced
I like
story,
to write.
but it's
Yeah,
also a romance, right? It's a
yes,
suspense romance. So
because
there are feelings in there.
that happily ever after is that's my goal. When I watch a movie, I don't watch horror movies. I don't I want to be satisfied. I want to feel like I just ate a piece of cake, I want to feel good about what I just read or what I just watched. You want to walk out of the movie theater feeling like you won a war or you beat the bad guys. And that's good versus evil, I guess is the
Mhm.
bottom line.
And
We're doing
and
found
love
family.
conquers all.
Yes, exactly. Love wins. Any
Love
kind of,
wins.
yes, yes,
Good wins and love wins. So over
yes.
these past 6 years, that you've been a published author, did you uncover anything about yourself? Did you discover anything about yourself or rediscover something about yourself that your previous life didn't show or
Uh, yes, I think everything we do, I'm a big believer in we make choices every day. When we put our feet on the floor, when I've taught kids in different situations, I'm an insurance agent now. I've worked in a TV station and I had 100 employees, but I tell people you make your decision about how you're going to react to people, how you're going to accept a situation. And uh, to be a writer, you can't just, I don't believe, maybe somebody smarter than me can, you can just pick up a pen and start writing. You got to educate yourself. You got to look at the market. You've got to, I took a lot of classes before I published anything. I had 4 years of classes and I was an English major, and I'm pretty well read. I read lots of books, but it's a skill, just like any other skill. You learn to play the guitar, you practice. You learn to write. You write short stories. Short stories get you uh, the repetition and the commitment to your craft, and that's what it is. It is a craft, and it's fun. And you asked what I found out about myself. I found that I'm spending a lot of money learning this craft, but I do enjoy it. We may never be Suzanne Brockman or David Baldacci, but I had a good time getting here. And I've got a book with my name on the front that I can show at every family reunion. It's going to be in the trunk, nowhere else.
the good thing you carry your books with you. I have sold books on the airplane. So
Yeah.
somebody's sitting next to me in the airplane and I'm writing and they said, "Oh, are you a writer?" And I said, "Yes, I am." "What have you written? Let me show you."
1999.
And this gentleman sitting next to me, and this one time he bought two copies for it. He said, "I didn't bring my wife anything back from my trip." And I was trying to think, what am I going to do? And now I'm going to say, "Oh, look, a signed book." You got to
There you
carry
go.
them. And your advice
Exactly.
is so good about our craft. Like you, I spent years just trying, English major,
Mhm.
reader, but I spent years trying to learn my craft to make sure that, and I keep learning. I keep learning. So you're exactly right. And you've
Do
already told us that you have some new things in the works. You've got your series all kind of mapped out. How much of it is written?
The second book is done. The third book is mostly done, and I've plotted the next three. The last two aren't plotted yet. And plotting to me is the hard part. When I started this, I thought I was a pantser. I'm just going to write it down. To be a pantser is you got to be a super genius because you get lost and you end up in the park with the dog and you got to come back and the couple's got to be together and it's hard. You don't have to I don't have to outline my book like every word, but I got to have turning points. I got to know where I'm going. A lot of times I write the beginning and the end, and then I write the stuff in the middle because I know where I'm going and I have a definite goal. And to me, that works, especially with short stories. I almost always write the ending, sometimes before the beginning, because then I know where I'm going with it. But it's words when you're an author, when it's something that you love, you have to do it. I mean, I can't sit and not do it. There's things you got to put down, and
We're all
it's I've
talking
been
to
doing it since
you.
I was a kid. You probably have too.
Although
Do
I
you
will
have
say to you that I'm a pantser and I'm not a genius,
you have
but
to be smart to be a
when I
pantser,
was writing
especially dual
Justice for
assignment.
Emerson, and I was about three-quarters of the way through, and my husband was reading it, and he said, "Karen, this is so good because I don't know who committed the murder." And I said, "I don't either." He said, "But it's three-quarters of the way through." I said, "I know, but I don't know who did." So,
I've got lots of friends that write the blurb and then they write the whole book based on the blurb. And that's they got to be smart. You got to be
we're
super
all
smart to do
different.
that.
I don't think it's a
Yeah,
smartness thing. I think we're just, I think it's just different
yeah.
styles,
Different
and you have to
style,
know what works for you.
right?
I don't think pantsers are smarter than plotters or plotters are smarter than pantsers. I think it's just who we are.
Right.
It's who we
Right.
are. So this is what are you reading? What are you writing? And can you recommend any books that you have read recently or got recently that you can
Well,
recommend to our audience?
well, I'm going to give you a plug. I read Justice for Emerson recently, and I loved it. It was a dual timeline. We had the almost the fighting, back in the old, and then you would go back and you would have the same character, but well, and he was the victim, but it was very well written, very well crafted, even if you are a pantser. I'm kidding. But I very much enjoyed that book. And another one by another Black Rose writing author was called Call Game. Did you get to read that one?
I haven't read it, but I've interviewed the authors.
It
And so
is.
it's
I
on
haven't
my
really talked.
list.
They're married, but
Yes.
they're
No, they're not
both
married.
high in their field. And but that book was great. In the ending, I'm one of those that can walk in a movie and I know this about myself. The first 10 minutes, I know how it's going to end. Yeah, I know what's going to happen. That book was a total surprise. I highly recommend Call Game if you like a good twist, and I like a good twist. That's
I do
fun.
too.
And of course, Kim Torrance, Havoc. That's the military stuff. I read that and it makes me feel smarter and I can go write something.
Yeah, Havoc is a terrific book.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Call Game, the two writers, they're not married and they don't live in the same town. They met at medical college, medical school, and they remained friends and they've only been writing together for 10 years, but they both have very separate
I
lives.
met them at the Black Rose Writing Conference and I thought they were because they were in the car together. They gave me a ride somewhere, but that book was excellent. I don't know how
Yeah.
you co-write something when you're in a different place like that. That'd be tough.
Isn't that interesting? You should watch
Yeah,
the review, watch the interview of
I'll
them,
have
the
to
two
do
of
that
them.
because I love that
Yeah,
book.
they were
Very good.
very fun to talk to.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you for reading Justice for Emerson. It's all you people out there, you know that it's not required.
It
It's
was
not
great.
something I require of my interviewees, but it's always appreciated. And I hope all of you are enjoying this conversation with Leah. Leah,
Yeah.
how can people find you? They can find your book on in two
Amazon
days, right? It's going to be on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Um, it's going to
everywhere.
be in your independent bookstores, in your library. It's going to be everywhere. And if you don't see it, go ask for it. But how can people follow your life? Your website, your social media.
I'm everywhere. Leah Miles author is my website. Leah Miles author on Amazon, Facebook. Just type in Leah Miles and you'll find me. And I have a newsletter I put out every month, chatting with Leah. And I put some personal stuff. My husband and I just launched a new business too. We have 6 Airbnbs here on a lake,
Oh,
and so we're very busy people.
yeah, that's
I still
exciting.
have time to write. I have to
Congratulations.
write. Yes.
Yeah, 6 Airbnbs. Where are you located?
We're in South Georgia. We call it the blueberry capital. This county is known for blueberries as Bacon County. You've probably never heard of it, but if you've eaten blueberries in the city, they're probably from Alma.
I'm gonna
It's
look
a,
because I
it's
eat blueberries every day, so I'm gonna see. I'm gonna look and see where it says it came from.
You come on down to the Blueberry Festival and well, if it says Michigan blueberries, they may be from Alma because that's our sister state. Their season follows ours, and sometimes they use the same
Oh,
labels.
very nice. Well, this has been so fun, Leah.
Yes.
It's such a pleasure having read your book, which I enjoyed, and then to actually meet you and have a chance to chat with you is a pleasure. I hope all of you have enjoyed it, that you will buy Leah's book, that you will read her book, that you will write her amazing reviews, because that is so important. 2 days from publication day. Congratulations, Leah. And thank all of you for watching. What are you reading? What are you writing? Until next time, bye.
Bye. Thanks you.